Reds, Neil Atkinson, Adam Melia, all the Belgian whistles, not messing about here today, getting stuck straight in to the fact that, well, I want to know what it felt like. What did it feel like?
Horrible.
Did you not enjoy it at all? How was your bottle, Adam, against Crystal Palace? How was it?
It's better now, but it did take a while to realign.
Was your bottle bruised?
Yeah. I think
your chakras were all over the place.
I haven't particularly enjoyed the last two games, actually.
Haven't you?
No, I didn't really enjoy Brighton. I went all the way there to settle my nerves, but they weren't settled by being there and it all unfolding in front of me. So the Palace one, I couldn't be there, so I watched it on my phone on a stream, which really didn't help.
No, it doesn't. Certainly not for that sort of game. Brighton, you could probably get away with.
Yeah.
You can relax into that sort of thing. For a 4-3, when every single time the ball moves in any direction, it feels fraught with danger.
No, it did, and I think it would have felt fraught with danger wherever I was watching it, but it did just feel like a steadily unfolding doom. But I've sort of reflected on it and decided that actually I've been impacted a bit by the fact that it finished 4-3, because I decided at 2-2 it was going to finish 4-2.
Yeah.
And so if I decide that it did, then that's fine.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Because it sort of did.
Yeah.
It didn't.
But it did.
But it did.
In a sense.
It was a 4-2. So it was a 4-2 with a little bit of terror at the end.
So your
and that terror is what's jabbing me in the ribs, I think.
So your coping mechanisms are lying to yourself on the scoreline and drinking really tiny drinks.
Yes.
They are your coping mechanisms, like Gulliver.
Yeah. Either that or I'm enormous. Which one's big, which one's small?
It's hard to tell.
Who knows? It's like Alice in Wonderland.
For me, it's interesting you've passed a watching it on a stream test. There's lots of tests Liverpool have overcome this season, and people keep talking about those tests like, it's dealing with certain opposition. From a supporter's point of view, this has been a season where you've just passed a watching it on a stream and losing your head test.
Yeah. You've passed being at a wedding and not being able to keep up with the score,
and then winning.
I passed Christmas party. The Christmas do was Wolves. I was underground, unable to keep up with the score. So there are those different ones that you.
Well, my one is it's my birthday weekend.
Okay.
And they've won on my birthday weekend, which normally they manifestly fail to do, quite miserably, in fact. And there was various moments of, oh God, they're doing it to me again. That was my biggest challenge for Saturday.
Because that's why it reminds me of. It reminds everyone of Swansea, because that's...
The Swansea 3-2.
That was your birthday, wasn't it?
Yeah.
All the best, by the way.
Thank you. It was horrendous. And I was thinking they're doing it to me again.
Yeah.
How could they do that way in which football becomes this personal thing? Like, why is this happening? Why is this happening now? Why is this happening to me?
Yeah.
How dare they?
Well, it is a personal thing, and we should stop pretending it isn't. Everything that we all do impacts very closely to what happens on the pitch.
Just the way of it.
That's the way of it.
That's the way in which it goes. How Steve Graves was really on the post-match show. Steve Graves was very, very happy. It's really good, the post-match show, by the way. Yeah. He was very, very happy about his 10 days off. He was like, he felt as though he himself was going to be doing some warm weather training, cycling with the boys, making it all look like it's Centre Parks, whereas really they're probably working really hard at some points. But he was like, thank God we've got that. Yeah,
I mean, that's how Klopp talks about how each player has their own different break at warm weather training. Some of them is a recuperation because they've been in the red. Some are, really getting back up to speed with the rest of the team. I feel like I'm in the red.
Are you in the red?
So it's mainly going to be recuperating, a lot of juice, fruit, that sort of thing. I think that's and then some light work in the pool.
You're going to do some light work.
Yeah.
Excellent. I'm really pleased you did a little bit of light work. Some stretches. Just stay in limber.
Very much in the red at the moment. But yeah, and it's those things that are. That are having to keep impacting on us, where things that shouldn't matter, like what order the games come, it suddenly is hugely filled with huge deep meaning. It shouldn't matter that we win and then City win, and it doesn't. I don't think it impacts me that much because I'm expecting it.
Yeah.
But you do see every time City win, no matter because they've been usually playing after us, they win. And suddenly, people who were previously confident are like, I'm not sure if it's still going well. And that's just because City have won.
I know, yeah, that's all it is.
Yeah.
And they were away at Huddersfield.
Which I would expect them to win. I would have expected them to win more heavily, to be honest.
Yeah, I was completely I didn't understand why anyone was going to engage with Huddersfield versus Manchester City in any meaningful way. Yeah. I wasn't going to watch it. I walked past it in a pub out on 14 minutes and looked through the window and went, oh, it's 0-0. That'll change soon. And then it did. And then everyone was saying, oh, City weren't very good. Didn't matter. No. There's 15 games left now, and I'd be stunned if City don't win 10 of them. Yeah. So just engage with them off the basis of the fact that they're almost certainly going to win, and that's fine, because I'd be stunned if we didn't win at least 10 of them. Yeah. I think that's the way it works. And I think the thing on the order, I feel this is different to 08-09. I think it's got more similarities now with 08-09 than 13-14. Yeah. And how I feel it's different to 08-09 is I'd be amazed if there aren't significantly fewer drop points, and in many senses that's almost a relief. Like, you can stick your mind games are almost pointless, because the idea of mind games is to try to ensure that the points drop at a certain time or anything like that, whereas really we're in this to try to get 100 points. You've just got to win every game. So if you play first or you play second, you've got to win. What happens if you play second and they lose? Well, we've got to win, we've got to capitalise. If you play second and they've won, well, we've got to win because they've just won. So for me it's a massive liberation. I am the opposite of that. The only way in which I was up the wall on Saturday was the idea of it being my birthday. Everything else, I was almost just quite, because you just got to win. It's dead easy. Yeah.
It actually reminds me a little bit of the first season, and it wasn't in England, but when Real Madrid and Barcelona were just going absolutely hammer and tongs the whole season. I think they finished on 199 or something. One finished on 100, one finished on 99, and it just felt like that. It was just a savage pace, and they both kept at it. And it does feel like it's going to be like that. And there are going to be these weekends where we both straight bat, as that's only looking back on it. It didn't feel very straight bat at the time. It felt very much like we were swinging and nicking.
We were swinging and nicking, but there's one other thing on that which I think that because we're going at the savage pace that we're going at, I actually think we're getting to the point that we're underrating a lot of the other teams in the league, the teams between 7th and 14th, in that they've all got 3 or 4 really good players. So Zaha's an example for Palace, but I think Palace's whole back four were impressive, even though he shipped 4 goals. The whole back four is a good back four.
They were really good. They were really, really solid, really aggressive.
And I think it's better than Arsenal's back four or United's back four. And so it's an elite back four. It's a top 6 back four. Plus they've got Zaha on the pitch. I like the lad who sits in front of the back four, Milihovic, or however you pronounce his name. I'd like him to have gone to the Asia Cup with Australia. I don't know why he hasn't. I feel as though there should be an inquiry in Parliament about that, given the fact that he puts that corner in. So there's that.
Are they in a Palace?
Palace are weird.
They aren't like there's some aspects of them like almost comparable to a Wolves, but actually they're in a relegation fight.
Well, the Palace are weird, but my point is more Palace are 14th. And they're doing that. They've scored 3 at the Etihad and they've scored 3 at Anfield. So what are the sides who were 7th to 13th doing? Well, Leicester have still got some of the players, albeit a few years older, who won the league for them. Wolves look a handy outfit, and people will tell you at the drop of a hat, Ruben Neves, for instance, should be playing Champions League football, and I'm just using him as one example. They beat Leicester 4-3 at the weekend. Everton are all right for all the Everton talk, and I think they're finding it a bit tricky at the minute. But Everton they've got some good players. Sigurdsson, for instance, is a really good player. Richarlison's a good player.
Watford have got one in them. A result somewhere.
All these sides.
Even Fulham. Yeah. I watched Fulham yesterday. They were all right.
It's mad, isn't it, Fulham? Yeah. Because they've got Rai Babs is on the agenda, by the way. It says here that he says coaches at Liverpool didn't help him adapt enough, but he wasn't more focused on music and football. We'll come on to that in a minute. But like Fulham, you're looking at them so they've got Sessegnon, who's one of the most exciting English prospects. They've got Schürrle, who's won the World Cup with Germany, even if he is an absolute doom brain. They've got Babel and they've got Mitrovic. These are really good players, and you're thinking to yourself, God, Seri's tidy in centre mid. My point is, we're going at this hell of a pace, but you're coming up against, if not necessarily good sides, you're coming up against good footballers every week.
So, and I guess what you can do is, because I guess we're talking about Fulham there, and if we were going to Craven Cottage this week, all of those feelings, all of those things that we've just talked about would suddenly loom large in the brain. You think that this is going to happen, but then. So I guess we're playing Leicester next, and we'll start to talk about the things that they've done against us in the past. But if on the other hand we were going to Newcastle, which as City are, we'd be thinking, there's
just beat Cardiff 3-0.
Yeah, exactly. Night game Tuesday, Jackie Milburn, Gallagher,
All the hits.
Big atmosphere. They love a centre forward.
They love a centre forward. Ketspire.
All that sort of thing.
We know the drill.
But we'll be saying that when we go there. Although it's very close to the finish when we go there.
It is indeed very close to the finish. On Babel, it's this really interesting. Coaches didn't help him adapt enough, but he wasn't more focused on music than football. I want to talk about the more focused on music than football bit, and the reason why is because, let's say Ryan Babel spent 20% of his conscious week thinking and worrying about music.
Right.
And let's imagine that another footballer spent 20% of his conscious week thinking and worrying about bird watching.
Right.
Okay, so we've got these two things. It's the same length of time and the same level and depth of obsession or otherwise. Same interest. One's in ornithology. One's in beats. That's it. That's the way in which this works. That's the delineation. I think the problem is everybody finds out much more about that one. If you know what I mean. If Ryan Babel had just been quietly going off doing some twitching and going to Martin Melia, nobody would have cared.
Not a big social media game, is there, for ornithology?
There really isn't. Although I suspect it's very specific about where you find specific birds around the country.
Right. Or you could say horse racing.
Horse racing, yeah.
Horse racing, for example. I mean, it hadn't occurred to me that he was more focused on music than football.
No, I just thought he wasn't quite good enough for us.
Yeah. and it still surprises me how long he was here.
Yeah.
He was here until Kenny, wasn't he?
He was.
Which is, mind-boggling in a way. But yeah, it was interesting to see him again being exactly the same.
It really was, wasn't it? Yeah. There's been no growth, no development, no shift in this period of time.
He's exactly the same, and that's nice.
It is nice to know. He's the one constant in this crazy mixed-up world we live in. Yeah. Virgil and Kenny Dalglish are mates. Kenny sends Virgil supportive messages before games. Virgil says that is what Liverpool is about. I think Kenny just wants to be mates with Virgil.
Yeah. I mean, because obviously, who doesn't? And Kenny's got the lucky position of being able to text whoever he wants. There's been a bit of Kenny talk, hasn't there, this week? Klopp mentioned him as well.
Well, Kenny, because the Paisley thing, which was really well done, but it was absolutely brilliant. They got Kenny on the pitch and they asked him some questions about Paisley. So Kenny is on the pitch at Anfield. There's been the Paisley mosaic. It's 100 years since Paisley was born, and Kenny gives nothing away. He does his absolute Kenny straight bat on the pitch to Peter McDowell. If ever there's a time or a place, Kenny, to maybe give us something that's a little bit different, a little bit off the beaten track, this could have been it, but Kenny absolutely Kenny's the life out of it.
Doesn't want to start any media narratives that might suddenly be out of control, and not in the club's best interest.
He does not want to wash the club's dirty linen in public in any way. No linen. He's a very strong man against linen. He absolutely straight bats everything back to McDowell. I knew you weren't there, and I was like, if you'd have been there, I'd been WhatsApping you about how unbelievably Kenny has just been.
It's great, isn't it? I love it when he does that. And I do miss his press conferences. For a while, actually, I think it was when Rafa was having a tough time. We said it would be quite good to just have Kenny in just as a press conference consultant.
Yeah.
Just to go in and absolutely straight bat. No agendas set that day.
Peter McDowell was absolutely working like nothing on earth as well. It was great. And poor Peter, he's fantastic, and he was sort of going. There was one word to describe Bob, and it was just, I'm not playing your games here, Peter. Not even right now in front of all these former players and this Liverpool supporting crowd on the day of Bob Paisley's 100th birthday, giving it absolutely nothing away. Last little bit is Oxlade-Chamberlain is back in training. He's gone to Dubai. He's what game have you got in mind for him? Either off the bench or starting? Have you got one? Have you targeted Manchester United away?
Because I thought Klopp did a little bit of a Kenny bit because he realised he'd given too much away in the previous press conference. He said, I think we'll see him this season, didn't he? He straight batted it, or I keep trying to think of other cricket shots, but I can't.
Well, you've nicked one today and everything. Yeah, I think you've done enough.
I know. If you're gonna flash hard.
There we are.
I imagined him something. I don't know, like maybe the second leg against Bayern or something. Substitute appearance.
He's on the bench at United.
I keep forgetting when United. Is it
that's after Bayern home. It's the 24th of February,
isn't it? Yeah.
End of Feb. He's just on the bench against United. Probably doesn't get on. We don't need him, but he's there in the back of your mind.
Yeah, I mean it's a similar time, isn't it? It's sort of end of March. I don't know what. So I was thinking like a late substitute appearance somewhere where the agenda's elsewhere anyway. So that's why I was thinking Bayern, because he just comes on and does a 15, but then the next home game, whatever that is, he plays a half.
Yeah. Lallana did lots of sensible things for 10 minutes, by the way.
Yeah, we did.
Which made him practically unique on the pitch at that stage.
Yeah, him and Camacho.
Firmino right back was boss.
I couldn't tell who it was, but
Firmino.
I mean, I was pacing like a lunatic. I was to be honest, my phone was there and I was over there. But yeah, I thought Lallana was really good in that way that he will do that. He does the sensible thing. He's because the best player I've ever seen at that is Sterling. Closing out a 1-goal lead at the end, and Lallana does those sensible things. Just getting what you can, getting your free kick if you can. Just having the brains to put a foot on it.
It was, did the job for us when he came on. Intriguing stuff. So show's coming out. Going to do the Anfield wrap in a minute. Me and Adam are going to be on that. That's going to be, well, I'm pointing like you can see it. It's in through there. That door. That's the door it's going to be done through. There's a gutter coming out as well today. Rob Gutman has sent over an agenda. He obviously is going to make a strong and ridiculous case for his buy in Wilfried Zaha, when, as any smart individual would say, if there was one Crystal Palace player you would buy at the drop of a hat, it is Wan-Bissaka, the right back, as he is very much the business. In fact, actually should be called, rather than Crystal Palace's Wan-Bissaka, he should be called the business's Wan-Bissaka.
I also don't think that, and I'm not on the gutter, so I'll say it now. I'm glad, although I like Zaha, I'm glad we've moved beyond the stage where we just buy players so we don't have to play against them anymore.
Yeah, that's a really fair point as well.
Because I think Benteke was the last time we did that, and
Yeah, no, I can't argue with that one. And there's going to be the review, doing that later on. It should be a fantastic show as well. You know where to subscribe. It's theanfieldwrap.com. It is £5 a month, and our motto for today is flash hard or flash home. Been talking Reds.